Welcome back to Educator.com. This is the lesson on hearing. When we look at the ear, we want to start on the outermost portion, sort of the most superficial, most lateral part of the ear. Now, in an anatomy and physiology course, when you say the ear, you're not just talking about this. You're talking about all that stuff on the inside, too. So the outer part of the ear that has that lobe, that typical look that we see on human beings, that's actually called the auricle. Now, the way that I remember that is the term aura, A-U-R-A. You may have heard someone say like, oh, your aura is green. Aura is something that's kind of emanating from you, projecting from you, and the auricle is emanating or projecting from your skull. The lobes of the ear are the auricles. You can call them a pinna, or plural be pinnae. You may have heard the term pinnipeds, which relates to sea lions. But pinna, that actually is another name for the auricle, and it's made of, mostly cartilage and fat. So a lot of it's soft bone with skin on top of it, and they are shaped like little satellite dishes, and they typically are kind of angled in a way where you can hear mostly what's on the sides of you and in front of you. Think about it. Our ears are not facing backwards. They're facing sort of to the side and forwards. And if you do this little cupping action on the sides of your head, you're sort of exaggerating the action of your ears. If something you can't hear very well and you go like that, it's like you're extending that little satellite shape. And if you hear something behind you, you're gonna turn so you can perceive it better through your auricles. If you go into that hole, which is primarily formed by that passageway, that meatus in the temporal bones that you may have heard about if you watch the skeletal lessons, the external acoustic meatus or external auditory meatus in certain books is that hole that goes inside the temporal bone. And actually, this part of the picture here, that is a spongy bone of the temporal bone. And then this would be the periosteum on the sides of it, and the compact bone. But I'm digressing. This hole that leads into the middle and inner ear, there's going to be skin lining it, of course. And on top of that, you're going to have hair and ceruminous glands. So what is an ear hole without hair? So everybody's got hair on the inside of there. Even if you can't see it, there's hairs in there. That's normal. And of course, like with hairs in the nose, they're catching that dust, those particles going in and preventing them from causing an ear infection. You don't want to lose your hearing over something going inside of there, so the hairs are going to protect that. And yes, excess hairs, some people will trim them. It's funny, as you age, those hairs can get more obvious in certain individuals. The ceruminous glands are a kind of gland similar to sebaceous glands, but modified in a sense so that these ceruminous glands are producing something called cerumen. Cerumen. And cerumen is a very waxy substance. That's what's causing the buildup of earwax inside your ear canal. And the purpose of that, to make that sticky, waxy stuff, is to once again catch bacteria, catch particles and things coming into that ear canal and into that external auditory meatus and preventing it from getting to the eardrum and beyond. That wax accumulates, and yeah, there are ways to clean it out. Some people produce more than others, and there are probably genetic and dietary factors that have to do with that. The tympanic membrane is what separates the external or outer ear from the rest of the stuff on the inside. And the tympanic membrane is better known as the eardrum. It's also called the tympanum. So it has really three different names. And eardrum is a great term because it's kind of like a snare drum in terms of how sound waves vibrate it. So it's a very rigid set of membranes with a very thin layer of skin on the external portion of it, on the lateral side of it, the one that's facing the external part of your body. When you go inside of a pool and they say like, oh, I got water inside my ear. The water isn't actually inside your ear, it's still in the external ear. And if you can see this with the blue, when water goes inside of your ear, sometimes it's just resting right here against that eardrum. And so a simple, shaking can get that water out. But you're not going to get water in here. And if you do, your chances of infection are going to go up. But yeah, the tympanic membrane, the eardrum, is what actually vibrates when sound waves come in. So that is the first structure that's actually being impacted by sound waves entering your ear, and that's going to transmit those vibrations further in. It's going to amplify them based on what's connected to them, to the tympanum, and then further on to the inner ear. So that is the external ear.